Today, we gather to celebrate the life and accomplishments of a great and inspiring man, the late great President Abraham Lincoln. He was a strong man with a passion for lawmaking and doing the right thing to help others. Abraham Lincoln did something that many men could not have done, and that was holding a nation together in a time when it seemed most likely to crumble. He saved the country and gave many of its residents the freedom they deserved. Abraham Lincoln is the greatest president ever for three main reasons. He was a strong leader, he was a powerful legislator, and he freed the slaves and saved the nation. I'll begin by explaining what made Abraham Lincoln a strong leader. For my first main point, Abraham Lincoln was a strong leader. According to a document titled Abraham Lincoln on the Biography Channel's website, when the Black Hawk War broke out in 1832, the local volunteers elected Lincoln as their captain and commander at just the young age of 23 years old. Although he saw no combat, he did make important political connections. From here, he joined the Republican Party in 1856 and was nominated for president in 1860, which he won because of his views on slavery based on its injustice, which was groundbreaking at the time. Then, when he was president, Abe Lincoln secured over $2 million from the Treasury without the consent of Congress, which is illegal, in order to buy firearms for the Union. He also called for 75,000 men to volunteer for the Union Army without a declaration of war, and he suspended the writ of habeas corpus, which allowed him to arrest any Confederate suspects without a warrant, which is also illegal. Although two of these three things were illegal, it helped him save the nation, and today is viewed as something that must have been done for victory. Abraham Lincoln was a strong leader by leading the way on his views of slavery after joining the Republican Party in 1856, and the way he overruled some laws to ensure the Union would win the war. He definitely had great leadership skills, but was also a powerful politician and knew how to get the laws he promoted passed. This is my second main point. Abraham Lincoln was a powerful legislator. A document titled Abraham Lincoln on History.com says Abraham Lincoln decided to join the Republican Party in 1856 and showed his view of slavery and decided it should be banned. Once he did this, he ran against William Douglas in the 1858 Illinois Senate elections and lost, but because of his view on slavery, he became well known and was nominated for presidency in 1860 for the Republican Party. He won the election, and according to the website whitehouse.gov, Abe Lincoln signed into effect the Homestead Act, which allowed men over 21 years of age 160 acres of land if they applied for it within the current United States. He also signed the Morrill Act, which allowed the government to give the land grants it promised in the Homestead Act. Another act he signed was the National Banking Act, which established a banking system in the United States and developed a national currency backed by the United States Treasury. He also signed the bill that chartered the first transcontinental railroad. The Emancipation Proclamation is probably the most well-known bill he signed. It allowed black males to fight for the Union Army and freed all black slaves in the South. This was a key stepping stone in passing the 13th Amendment, which outlawed slavery. For signing the Emancipation Proclamation, Lincoln is known as the Great Emancipator. Abraham Lincoln was a powerful legislator who won the Republican nomination for president in 1860 based on his views of slavery that he demonstrated in 1858, and because he signed into law many bills and acts that are still part of our society today. He was a strong leader and very powerful legislator. Without these two qualities, he may not have been able to hold the country together in one of its darkest times. This brings me to my third and final point. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves and saved the nation. According to History.com's document, Abraham Lincoln, he called for 75,000 volunteers when Confederate guns fired on Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861. The Union Army started the war rough, losing all the early battles. But Lincoln stayed the course and called for another 500,000 soldiers to be trained, which eventually led to the Union's first win at Antietam. This victory changed the momentum to the Union Army, and because of this, Lincoln easily won re-election in 1864. Lincoln used the Union Army tirelessly for 4 years to free the blacks from slavery. He also signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which freed all blacks in Confederate states and allowed the blacks to fight for the Union Army. After 4 years of fighting, the Southern states finally gave in. Lincoln accepted the Confederate surrender on March 28, 1865, which ended the war and joined the nation back together. Lincoln played his cards right and got all the slaves free, as well as got a nation divided back together under one constitution again. Lincoln was a strong leader with incredibly powerful lawmaking abilities. His work in the American Civil War and freeing the slaves makes him one of the best-known presidents. All in all, Abraham Lincoln was one of the greatest leaders in American history. He loved the country he lived in and all the people who lived in it. He fought for them and their justice every day of his life, and he is the greatest president ever known because of 3 main points. He was a strong leader, he was a powerful legislator, and he freed the slaves and saved the nation.